it's Trina with Auntie's Corner, and I am coming to you with an anime series review. This one is called Haikyuu. It is Japanese volleyball sports anime, hence the name being a little odd, but it is rated TV 14. It was released in 2014. And it takes about 36 hours to watch season 1 through 4, which is what this review is about. So, warnings for parents. There are some alcohol references, smoking, language, and there is some fan service. If you go to antscorner.com, auntiescorner.com, which is antscorner.com, all one word, with no anything in it. It has a link to IMDb for the Haikyuu, like full on what parents saw as issues. So it's a strong caution for parents because content may be inappropriate for under 14 years old. This is one of my favorites personally as a sports anime because it's realistic. It's not over dramatic and unrealistic as far as like, you know, they don't jump 8 feet in the air and can spike down a ball over people, you know. So it is 4 stars because of the profanity and fan service, but otherwise for older teens, I think it's a 5-star. Language is a thing, so if you go to auntiescorner.com, it's all one word, like I said. At the very bottom of my post, it has every episode, the language that's in that episode, and if there's fan service. I am human. I may have missed something, but most of that is there. If you do not like some of the terms, then, you know, you can watch that specific episode. If there's a word you're like, oh no, I want to know what that's about, then you can watch it and understand it. So language is a factor. Other factors, there is some like fan service. Like I said, fan service, if you're not aware, anime has, you know, it's targeted more toward adult. When you think anime, it's more adult cartoons than it is for teens. So fan service usually is really bad. But it's, you know, we have like emphasis, like, you know, a chesty girl walks past and it emphasizes her clothing in the busty area or her skirt or whatever. It also has boys changing in the locker room. It doesn't show anything. It's just like they're taking their shirts off, whatever. It does have Tanaka running out in his boxers, yelling at our main character, hey, you took my pants, bring them back, you know, that kind of thing. Then in season 2, Yachi comes along, and Yachi is our year 1, our kind of like America's freshman. She is the new manager that's taking over for Kyoko, and she continuously compares her looks to older females. So you can understand that it's going to emphasize clothing on other females, and, you know, the older girl grabs Yachi and hugs her, and her face is like implanted into breasts, that kind of thing. So that is fan service in this setup. You also have communal bathing, which is a thing in Japan since the Edo period. So, it doesn't show anything other than, like, I thought it was knees in the water at first, but it was actually butt cheeks. Like, if your kids aren't paying attention closely, they won't notice that it's, you know, it's that. If somebody does, like, stand up out of the water or whatever, it's strategically placing a hand, or, you know, somebody turns and starts talking and they're, you know, going past, but it doesn't show anything because something is covering the important areas. And the last factor is smoking. And the coach for Karasuno's volleyball team, if he's not in the gym, he has a cigarette in his hand 9 out of 10 of the episodes, you know, of that time that he's out of the gym. So just being aware of that. As I said, alcohol is there. They reference sake. These adults that are teaching the kids and everything, it's a volunteer basis. So, you know, Japan has, in the anime, I don't know if it's really that way culturally or not. If it is, it's amazing. But when you go through school, that is your school, and you have underclassmen, even though you don't know people that are in that school anymore or whatever, if you're an adult and somebody says, hey, your school that you went to, they're raising money for whatever and they need help with whatever, you're volunteering and you're, a part of that community. So just being aware of that. And that's something that we really lack here in America. I feel like, you get out of high school and you're never going back. And if you do go back, it's because you know somebody that's going through school, whatever. It's not this, that's more of a smaller community. And even then you don't have that kind of cultural community feel. So I think that's really cool. And if Japan is really that way, then I may need to move to a different country, but it's just my opinion. I think it's cool. So overview, if you plan on watching this series, I'm not giving too much away as far as like spoilers, whatever, but Shoyo Hinata is our main character. He is a small guy who is a mid blocker throughout, middle blocker for volleyball. He's barely 5'3", 5'4", right in there. And he wants to play and be the best that he can be. Then Tobio Kageyama is he's the setter on the team. When we first meet Tobio, he is actually an opponent of Shoyo's in middle school. They have one game against each other, and Tobio Kageyama says, what have you been wasting your time on for the last 3 years? Because Shoyo doesn't know the basics, but he's got speed and reflexes. So that's what he does to compensate for his lack of knowledge, because he didn't have a team in middle school. He didn't have anybody on the team until he was in the 3rd year and he got enough warm bodies to play the game. And then they don't even really know the rules or anything. So they get skunked against Tobio. So he keeps moving forward and says, I want to go to Kurosano, because he saw Kurosano at the Nationals when he was getting ready to go into middle school. And when he saw them, there was a tiny giant, a shorter player going up against somebody that was really tall and scoring points and being, how that is. You watch somebody that you don't think's going to win, you're rooting for the underdog, and then the underdog is like, killing it. So, Shoyo goes to Kurosano High School thinking that they're still a big school for volleyball, and they've went downhill. They're the fallen champions. They're the wingless crows. So when he gets there, he's like, I'm gonna be doing my best. I'm gonna learn everything I can, so that way the next time I go up against Tobio Kageyama, I'll beat the king of the court. And that's Tobio's nickname, and it's not a compliment. It's he can't communicate with his team, and his team calls him the king of the court, because nothing they do is ever good enough is how they feel. But Tobio doesn't mean it that way. It's just he wants to win. He just doesn't know how to communicate well. So it's their growth, Shoyo's and Tobio's growth throughout the entire 4 seasons, from they cannot communicate, they're rivals, they don't know how to be teammates, all the way until they're teammates. They rely on each other and they're friends. And they still compete and they still, want to win, but it's better. So it follows that, and you really learn that. Something that I really took away from it was, if you give up on yourself and you believe what everybody says, and you just don't try, then nothing's ever going to change. Shoyo is told, you're too short to do that. You're too small to be a mid blocker. And if he had listened and quit, then he wouldn't be where he is in the series. So it's an amazing and inspiring anime. I think it's well written and well done. There is a lot of language in it, but it's fun to watch, and it feels like the characters are your friends, and that you're, watching the game and rooting them on from the sidelines, and it's very realistic. So, like I said, a lot of profanity, but nothing worse than what you hear around town. So, I did give it a 4-star, but it's really a 5-star if you don't care for language, that kind of thing. Like I said, antscorner.com has all of the language per episode. Like I said, I'm human. I may have missed something. As far as fan service, I think I got them all, but if I didn't write it down, I didn't feel like it was fan service. I've seen way worse. But additional information before I let you all go is the manga is complete. So if you have somebody that likes anime or likes TV series and they like this, then maybe they need to read the manga. Manga's a little different to read. I haven't read them to know if the language is any better or worse in the manga, but it is a complete series. You can read all of them. And there are rumors that there's another season, a 5th season coming out. It's either going to be a season or it's going to be 2 movies to get through the rest of what's left over from the manga. But it's supposed to be released this year, so fingers crossed it comes out and that it's dubbed, because then I will watch it. I don't like subbed. If I wanted to read something, I'll read the manga. So if it comes out, I will be watching it and reviewing that as well. So I hope you enjoyed this, and if you don't watch anime, definitely check this out. See you soon!